So this is a video talking through my storyboard and my plan that I've made for my A2 music video. So the first shot that we're planning on using is a close-up, an extreme close-up of someone opening their eye. I use this in my AS post-apocalyptic film opening, and I thought it worked really well as an introductory shot. It's a different type of shot as well. But it just sort of sets the tone, you know, someone's waking up in a place, and it sort of suits the name of the song, Wake Me Up. You know, an eye opening is associated with waking up, so thought that would be a good shot that we could use to start off. As well, early on, we're going to aim to set the setting and the environment that Will is going to be in. So we're going to use a few different establishing shots. One of the destinations that we're going at, the quarries in Kirkby, it's quite hilly, so there's like good opportunities to get like wide, long range shots, and it really sets where the setting is taking place. And the first clip of our performance, and so throughout this we're going to make sure that we include bits of performance and bits of narrative. There's not any specific pattern to how we're going to like order it. It's just going to be sort of like how whenever we feel is appropriate to add performance and then add narrative as well. So the next shot is going to be a mid/close-up shot. So what we're going to aim to do is, because we've been to the photography studio in which we're going to film the performance, and generally there isn't really that much space, and also other people have told us that as well. So we're not really going to be able to use long shots within the studio. So what we're going to do, rather than just having like a plain still mid shot, we're going to try and use movement and specifically in the close-up form to try and use effectively the small space that we do have. So we're going to try and vary it up rather than it just being a plain mid shot. So, you know, it could be someone playing the guitar, it could be Ben singing, and just sort of that movement, and it's just like a different sort of shot to include within the music video as well. Another shot that we're planning on using, which we're not sure whether to use for performance or narrative, or we might use for both, but is a 360 shot. We tested this at the beginning of the end of last year, but we've seen it used in different music videos, and it just creates a really cool effect. And when we was testing it last year, it looked really good as well. So again, it's a different variation of shot. Then again, you know, we're just going to sort of keep switching from performance and narrative. So we're planning on doing like close-ups of the instruments, and also like the lip syncing, so close-ups of the lips, the microphone, that sort of thing, and then the guitar, so like different shots, so like pull focuses of the strings, but also just like different close-ups of the instruments, again having that variation in camera shots. Then again, we're going to just sort of do some mid shots to close shots, again because of the space we're limited, and we don't just want to have like a still image. So in the performance, we're just going to keep switching up from like close-ups, like just close-ups, to like mid to close-ups, and it's that movement as well. It just makes it look better for the audience and a bit more interactive. And then what we want to do is, because it's showing Will going from a bad to a good place, we're going to want to highlight the fact of his, like, the fact that he is moving from a bad to a good place. So we're going to do this through establishing shots mixed with panning shots within the within the narrative side of it. So it's going to be showing, you know, the different changes in like environment and stuff. So it'll be like running out of the dark woods, and then moving to lighter places, which then is reflected in like lighting and that sort of thing, and then the audience can clearly see that change, and then through possibly body language, we hope that it can be portrayed that Will is now happier, and is getting happier, is in a better place. Also, what we're going to do is we're going to use high angle shots on looking down on Will at this point as well, because it's still sad. However, it is progressing to getting better, but as the song goes on. But we're going to use high angle shots, and that's looking down on Will. It creates that negative effect and makes him look small and that sort of thing. Then also what we're going to do is because it's a forest. Well, in several locations that we're filming, there's forest there, so we can take advantage of that. I'm going to do like low shots of it moving through, and again, we've seen this in films, we've seen this in music videos as well, and it creates, again, it's showing off the setting that Will's going to be in, and also it creates like a dark, gloomy effect as well. So with different movements, so like following the trees and that sort of thing, it creates a good effect. As well as this, in one of the locations that we're filming in Matlock, there is a tunnel that we've seen and that we've been in and tested shots, and it's basically it's like quite a long tunnel, so it's like really dark inside, and then depending on the weather, obviously we're going to film midday, but hopefully it's a reasonably sunny day to some extent, but basically Will walks out of the tunnel and into the light, and it creates a good effect, and again it's reflecting that mood change from bad to good, and it's getting better. So that will be a good shot to do, so like a high angle follow shot possibly, or whatever, and then put like stabilizer on it in post-production, and it'll hopefully create a good effect. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to include little clips, like only short little clips during the part where Will was going from a bad place to a good place, where things are starting to pick up, but it's still generally sad. We're going to add like little clips, so it could be memories, or it could be like clips that we'll use later on in the video, in which where it's good, so it's sort of like foreshadowing the future, that sort of thing. And like only quick little clips, and it's showing that glimpse of the positivity within the film. So possibly in places where it's much brighter or there's more colour, rather than the dark gloomy forest, so it's showing that contrast and that progression of going from a bad place to a good place. The next thing we're going to do is in the studio, in the photography studio, there is a mirror that the teacher's going to let us use, and what we're planning on doing is, we've seen it in a music video by A$AP Rocky. He films directly into the mirror, and then it's like filming the character looking into the mirror, and it just creates a cool effect, and it's a sort of different shot to use as well, and we think that will be good. So we'll probably do that as well, maybe in performance, maybe in narrative, we're not 100% sure. Then also, we're going to be including like panning shots and that sort of thing, showing that progression, and that probably near enough this point, it'll be more positive. So colour will be starting to be shown throughout it, and then like mise-en-scène and body language will be portraying that as well. And then what we've decided is, in the location in Matlock, there is a big lookout spot called Black Rock, and it's basically just a massive lookout spot. Like, it's quite high up, and it just looks out over all of Matlock and like the surrounding areas and stuff. So that's going to be sort of the point where it goes from bad to good, like it's the changing point where colour's introduced and that sort of thing. And what it's going to symbolise is Will is on top of this new big lookout spot, and he's looking down on where he was, all the negative places and that sort of thing, and then from that it's then going to go on to a different location, and it's going to be more positive from there rather than the old stuff. So that's what we're planning on doing for that. And also what we're going to do is we're going to be doing some time lapse. And another idea that I came up with is to include time lapses, which is showing that progression in time of Will going from a bad to a good place. So possibly like a sunset, maybe a like just the clouds moving, depending on whether it's a clear day or not. And it's just sort of showing that progression in time. And then, because it's the good point, what we've decided as a group that would be good is, now Ben's going to be introduced into the narrative, and then it's just going to become like that joy, like Will's found a friend, and they're just in a much happier place. The mise-en-scène, like body language, costume's going to be better, the lighting's going to be better, and the editing's also going to be adjusted to make it seem more better. And so we'll use more low angle shots that seem more empowering and that sort of thing. And then this will be in a new location, and it's going to be the mood's just going to generally seem much more happier. As well as that, we're also going to ensure that we include framing within our video. So mainly at the beginning, it's going to be quite tight framed, that sort of like lost, isolated, trapped sort of impression it gives off to the audience, sort of that sort of thing. And then once it gets to the good parts, it can be much more wider frame, showing that more freedom and like where he's roaming into and that sort of thing. Also, another shot that we're planning on using again, which I used in my AS post-apocalyptic film opening, I used a load of pull focusers, which I like discovered in my own time out of school, which work really well, and they just look really good as well. And it's a different variation in shot as well. And then carrying on from a point I made earlier about having good memories, like flashing up on screen. So again, it could be possibly clips that are used later on, or it could be like clips that we don't include within the narrative specifically and the performance. It's sort of just like highlighting memories throughout. They're only going to be quick little flashes on the screen, but it's just showing that positive side and that sort of thing. And then another idea that we came up with, which we're not sure if it's going to work or not, but in wherever we decide to do it, so we're going to need a wide open area, and what we're going to do is we're going to use different shots. So we could use like a high angle, a low angle, a pull focus, maybe like a close up. But what we're planning on doing is doing like a 360 sort of thing. So it starts, there's like a film here, like facing them, then it's like it all flows like carrying on. They're all singing the same lyrics during the performance aspect. So it starts off one shot here, one shot here, one shot here, one shot here. So it's from the front, sides, and the back. And then like if you edit it all together, maybe it'll create like a good sort of effect. I mean, we're not exactly sure how we're going to do that yet. But like just use different variations of shots, but they're all carrying on with what they're doing, so it flows well. And it sort of just looks like there's like 4 different cameras set up around the performers, and it might create a good effect. Then also one of the props we're going to use is a TV. So what we're planning on doing is sort of zooming as the ending shot. We're planning on both Ben and Will to sit down, and then I will walk through the middle of them, and like maybe a pull focus shot during that, I'm not too sure, and walk through the middle of them, and then it focuses on the TV and sets like on the TV, and then we could add an effect onto the TV and it creates like a cool ending transition or something like that. That's possibly what we're planning on doing, or we might include it earlier on as well, but in more regards of we could possibly use it as the transition from the bad place to a good place. It goes into the TV, and then it's like this like the transition from a bad to a good place. Or we could use it as the way of showing the flashbacks and memories. Possibly, there's many different ways we could use it, but at the minute we've kind of set on it being the ending, the transition, and we just think it will look good. Again, it's a different camera shot. It's incorporating the props within, and there's like endless ideas of edits that we can use around that as well. So that's my storyboard. I've just spoke through it all. Hopefully, it all makes sense, and that's the plan so far.